Hello, hello, what is up? We got a new chapter of One Piece 1119. This one is called Emmet. The last chapter ended on a pretty crazy bombshell with Bonnie also ascending to some Gear 5 esque state, having the really goofy proportions and powers, presumably, of Luffy in that state. Nobody knows what this means. Maybe we'll speculate it a little bit at the beginning of this chapter before we plunge in and maybe get answers. I think it's like a hard 50-50 whether or not we'll actually gain any knowledge as to why this happened or what this means, or whether that just kind of gets kicked down the road a little bit more and instead we just watch Bonnie enjoy her new powers and liberation, which she so dearly deserves. I think we can all agree on that. Before we plunge too much into this, let's see what Yamato's up to. Pelted with rocks by children who hate Kaido. Oh, that's kind of brutal. Because Odin faced somewhat similar persecution going around the outskirts of Wano, the more rural, depressed countries, or prefectures, I guess, in Wano. So it's like he's kind of having the same experience as Odin, which is maybe what he wants, to understand the pain of Wano, just like Odin did. At the same time, though, it's just like these kids are doofuses, and rather than seeing Yamato as the brave warrior that he is, that fought for their liberation, it's just like, oh, he's got horns on his head. It's like Kaido. Too bad. So, I don't know. This will be maybe a kind of a breakthrough moment for him in understanding the pain of these people and showing how different he is than Kaido. I just want him out on the ocean, though. I said this last time because I thought that was like him departing Wano. It was unclear whether or not this was like departing the capital to tour around Wano like Odin did, or whether or not that was already done enough and now he was heading to sea. But I want more Yamato action in the main story, so I'm hoping that comes along before too long. Anyways, yeah, so what's going on? I think there's basically like a couple different ways you can think about this. One, this is a particular power of the age fruit. In the same way that Bonnie could imagine these distorted futures where her body is all these different proportions, she is also able to imagine a distorted future where she is the sun god Nika, as she kind of thought as a kid. And I already said this is very fulfilling because I thought she got kind of a raw deal, growing up kind of believing that she might be this revolutionary person and she may be the person spoken of in legend and prophecy and whispers. But instead she just runs into that person. So it's actually Luffy. So it could be that, yeah, this is sort of like fulfilling this idea that Bonnie was, the long-awaited sun god Nika, and that the age fruit allows her to make that potentiality into real. I don't know, this would be an okay solution, and I think that is what she really deserves, I guess. And the age fruit is already fucking insane and can do whatever else, so that makes sense. Another possibility is that they were like, oh, the Gum Gum fruit is actually the Hito Hito legendary fruit model human Nika, or whatever. Just like Sengoku's fruit is like the legendary Hito Hito fruit model Buddha. But they're like wrong, and the spirit of Nika actually lives in like multiple devil fruits, or perhaps all devil fruits. Perhaps Nika in some way is like the originator of all devil fruits, and this potential to transform into something like Nika exists in all fruits. I don't know, I'm kind of like mixed on that, because obviously this would lose its impact if it was like overdone, and everybody with a devil fruit was awakening to some gear type form. I don't think that's even going to happen, but it's like every time they do it, it loses some significance. It was super shocking when Luffy did it. Kind of equally shocking almost that now that Bonnie's done it. But then if a third person did it, the impact is so much lower. I only kind of like thinking like this because it would kind of tie into this whole idea of like, what are the devil fruits in the first place? Where did they come from? What is their true potential? All that sort of stuff is still like a big open question, and kind of weaving this together would be interesting. The other thing that's possible is that it's like Buccaneer blood. The fact that it's the lineage of this weird human parallel species or whatever the hell Buccaneers are, definitely has something to do with like these ancient kingdoms and what's been destroyed in the Void Century, and maybe even the Will of D or something could all be wrapped up together in this. And so it's not just anybody that can do this, and it not is even to do with the Gum Gum Fruit again, but instead it's people that have this bloodline are able to do this. And the fact that they showed right before her transformation some flashbacks of Kuma talking about like raising Bonnie and like recalling her matriarch and stuff, it kind of suggests that maybe it has something to do with her parents. So I don't know. That's like another one. I think this is maybe like kind of the least interesting one because it's sort of the most self-referential. It doesn't really open up other questions about the series or answer questions about like other mechanics and stuff like Devil Fruits. I don't know. Maybe we've speculated enough. I think we can plunge in, see what actually happens. I just am happy. I'm just so happy for Bonnie. Okay, so we're cutting to Stussy, freed Kaku, my beloved Kaku, having this emotional moment. Because in the end, she was like a quadruple agent, and that's very hard to handle emotionally. Once Lucy gets here, I won't be able to stop him. Okay. I mean, all you guys just gotta leave. That's the long and short of it. Now I'm having fun. Oh, Nika. 2 Nikas. It's just an illusion of the age fruit. Okay. This is what the Gorosei are. That's the side that they're on. But, like, I don't know. There's no way it's just an illusion. There's no way it's like, oh, Bonnie, this thing that you dreamed of for your entire life, this destiny that at one point you thought you had. It just looks the same. You're just able to look this way. I think she'll be able to do all sorts of wacky, crazy stuff, too. Certainly the powers will accompany it, at least. Can't hurt these guys by ripping them up or crushing them. So I want you to wail on me as hard as you can. Huh? Wait, what's the plan here? So he tanks one big fire attack. I don't get it. Some sort of pain transference? He's, everyone dancing because of the drums of liberation still playing in the background. Of course, these ancient giant pirates that have been sailing since long before this age of piracy. Not, of course, that they go back to the Void Century themselves, but they're like, what, like 300 years old? This is stirring something deep, deep, deep within them. Something only a couple generations ago, perhaps. Something that maybe they were taught directly by their grandfathers who had seen it live. Okay. So... yeah, she certainly has a lot of crazy Nika-esque powers, too. She was already able to kind of mimic the Gum Gum Fruit with her distorted futures, but this goes well beyond that, because that was just, like, stretching and squishing her body by imagining herself being huge or tiny in different spots. But this is just, like, full-on... she's got the armament hacky, she's just willy-nilly firing off, like, an elephant gun. I don't know. Okay, so why is it he grabs Bird Boy, they're all going to attack him, and the plan is just to send it flying, I think. He's given up on trying to damage it, so the plan is just to burst it out of his belly at, like, the speed of sound and send it flying away. Oh, yeah. She thought because he's all rubbery. Trying to squeeze the life from his lungs. Yeah. Nah, she's for real tunified. She's having all the same insane, absurd reactions as Luffy. Yeah. He's firing it off. I like it. I like this idea that, you know, the regenerative power. We talked about this a lot before, that Oda had really protected the idea of just, like, regenerating from damage. And saved it for these, like, truly inhuman, truly freaky final boss tier characters. And I like that they're treating it differently. Like, it's not just a question of, oh, we need to overpower the regeneration by hitting it with like a million billion attacks at once. At least it isn't yet. And it's not like some sort of puzzle where, oh, if you go for the head, that nullifies the regeneration. You know, like it's being treated with the severity that this sort of power entails. And so instead of fighting, instead of actually trying to damage, Luffy has to come up with this other solution of just sending it flying really far away. It's gone and it can't come back. I like this too because this is invoking, you know, a real classic One Piece type attack. This is something that Luffy's been doing since the very start of the series. Just ricocheting people off with his belly. And this is like a super powered version of that. The Dawn Balloon. Okay, okay. They're coming down any second now, but they're late. Ooh. Okay, so Atlas quickly volunteers to go check on them, thinking of how York is monitoring them. So this may be like a self-sacrificial thing that Lilith and Atlas, it's just them and York left, in order to not let themselves be used as spies incidentally by York. I think their plan is to go down with Egghead. And it just sort of makes sense narratively too, you know, as great as Vegapunk a character was. It's very clear that Oda is like, okay, his age is over and he's dead. And this is like his final impact on the earth. And now, you know, we're going to sail off in memoriam of him, you know? So I think it would like reduce the impact of all of that if it was like, well, one part of Vegapunk survived. So you still get like all the benefits of Vegapunk, basically. So I think, yeah, it's going to be the final tragic sacrifice that all of the parts of Stella stay behind and make sure that York can't pursue them. But actually, nothing of the sort. Okay, so now we're cutting into the interior of this ancient robot, which got shoved off the island by the combined forces of all the Gorosei. But the transponder stale that was just like sitting in there. It wasn't like it was somehow embedded into the robot itself. It just physically was sat in there. Is coming back alive. So is the transmission going to start again? Oh snap, oh snap. He's still talking about the will of D, I think. Here we are on Whole Cake. We can see Katakuri, some of the other siblings watching. Who knows what they're thinking? Because those guys aren't, like, totally evil per se. Like, Big Mom was messed up and had some messed up ambitions. But, you know, they're just pirates. You know, like, they're as against the world government as anyone else. Here on the news balloon, Vivi and Morgan's. No problem with the transmission. Only a temporary break in the mental waves. But transmission says memory and mental waves work on separate circuits. You actually have to destroy it directly. Can only pray that those at the mercy of this reason will be able to hear the message. And then suddenly, we cut to frickin' what's that guy's name? Goemon? No. He has like a weird pun name. And this woman he meets that's stuck in a barrel like completes the pun. And it's like a Simon and Garfunkel pun or something. This is gonna bug me. But yeah, these two. We know these two. We haven't seen them in like 700 chapters, probably. But here they are. Cypher pulling a bunch of rubble. Wailing down the Seraphim 2. That monster had spit them all out. It looks like a fountain. Interesting. So this is the Gorosei's plan to attack the ship. Is to just spew troops at it. Ooh. Luffy clocks it. Go, Nika, go. I like that they're just cheering him on as Nika. White shines, monsters, Cypher pull from the sky. Is this all a bad dream? Uh-oh, the big the boar is gonna spew fire. No, he's just gonna ram the ship directly. Bonnie already knocked out. You know, too bad. I was hoping to see her do even more exciting stuff, but I'm sure that's not the last we'll see. Thinking of Joy Boy in this crucial moment. The freaking. The robot bursts forth from the ocean and clocks him, breaking off his tusk. This thing is so freaking strong. This thing is like actually we actually have no like upper bound on how strong this thing is. Cuz it got pushed into the ocean by, you know, the combined attack of like 5 of the strongest characters we know. Not to get all power scaly, but it was like fine. It just fell into the ocean. And it seemed like it was just going to chill down there because it knew it was transmitting, maybe? It's unclear if it knows about this or not. Pops back up. Tellingly, this thing also has, like, the same sort of horns as Kaido and Yamato, and similar horns to oars. And again, it's like, oh, that might just be that Oda enjoys that sort of, like, ogre-esque you know, head. He thinks that looks badass, because it does. But there could be some connections, too. Like, we really just don't know. There's all these, like, kind of ancient world elements, things that we knew were from untold centuries ago, this void century era. And that might be, like, Kaido's species, or that might be Orza's species, or it might be, you know, this robot was designed based on these species, or whatever. It's called Emmet. That's the name of this robot. I don't know if there's anything we can glean from that. But Joy Boy had instructed it when the time is right to make this sort of action. And Luffy, of course, is so hyped to see the giant robot. And of course, the Gear 5 cartoony reactions are spreading even onto our distinguished ancient giant pirate crew. Very good, very good. Alright, another pretty crazy chapter. As I kind of expected, we did not really learn anything as to why Bonnie was able to do that. I hold no credence to them saying, oh, it's just an illusion. But yeah, fun stuff. Good stuff. Let's look forward to next week. Actually, I think next week is break. Let's look forward to the week after next week. Things are continuing to get crazy as we move into... I think this is now like the 5th time I've said, oh, this is the climax of Egghead Island. This time it's got to be for real. Alright. See you then. Bye-bye for now.